The inflation numbers are pretty much stagnant, but like we were talking about with Monica, the New York Times can't help but say, "Well, it rose." Okay, well, you're using terminology that doesn't doesn't define what it is that you're trying to talk about, but such is the lib media. Let's bring back Steve Kuko. Steve, this I thought was fascinating, the inflation numbers coming out, because I've been hearing from everybody, and we just talked about a little bit with Monica. Inflation is going to go nuts with the Trump tariffs, with trying to get back to reciprocal tariffs across the country. Inflation, though, has kind of steadied year over year. And in case you weren't listening, the New York Times says, well, inflation rose 2.5%. Well, that's what inflation is. Where that's not what we're talking about. What we've been talking about, inflation rising, is the rate of inflation rising. If inflation itself is actually at 2%, that's what the Fed is trying to make it do. The tariffs, apparently, the big story here is the tariffs really haven't had that big of an impact. Did you see this coming? Did any of your lib friends, if you have any, see this coming, or is this a shock to everyone?
Well, like you said, the tariffs, I don't think they've truly affected things like people anticipated, especially as the news made out to be like everything is just going to, quadruple in price. Some
Mm.
things get affected, and is it a precautionary price increase? And are people using this for marketing tactics? Absolutely. As a business owner, if somebody that owned some online businesses, and I understand, working with import, export, and all that kind of stuff, ultimately, like, this is a little bit more of a long-term play, I believe, that Trump is doing. People want to see, and we're in this day and age of, I'll call it the Amazon age, where people want things done right the same day. They want to order something and it show up at the door in an hour. Like, that's insane that it's gotten to this point. But at the end of the day, Trump has a plan. I believe in the guy on a business sense. The guy knows what he's doing, and clearly, this is just really bringing countries to the table to negotiate, to try to better things for America. Can it be a temporary bruise? Can it hurt a little bit? Some things, be affected, absolutely, and we see that a little bit. But at the end of the day, like, you see China kind of maybe saying, "All right, we're gonna ease up a little bit. We're gonna
Hmm.
open our doors," and you have other countries saying, "Hey, we're gonna make things a little bit more even," and that's ultimately Trump's goal here. It's because the U.S. just seems to always get screwed, whether it's NATO, whether it's tariffs, whatever it is. Like, we're the ones always footing the bill, and it's about time that there's a little bit more even playing field for America, and that we start bringing some money back into our countries and helping truly the Americans. But I mean, inflation is up. There's no doubt. You go to the grocery store, there's things that are still up, and there's a lot that's come down. I mean, they've done a good job at bringing some of the like price of groceries down. But
Hmm.
is it still up? Yes. But does inflation impact us year over year? Is that a normal thing? It is, and people, like you said, tend to forget about that. You look at a housing market. Is housing market still up a little bit, but it's starting to come down? I think there's a lot of moving parts to this, and we really need to just see how this ultimately plays out.
Yeah, and regardless what happens, the libs will say, no, Trump bad, Orange Man bad. We hate everything he's doing.